Morning. Welcome to NIC's 2009 Shareholders Meeting. My name is Harry Harrington. I am the Chairman of the Board and the Chief Executive Officer. I welcome you to Olathe today. Today we have folks joining us in the room, via the phone, on the Internet. In addition to our normal webcast, we're also holding this Shareholders Meeting in virtual reality. Virtual world of
26.4 million, an 11% increase over the same period last year. On a same-state basis, portal revenues grew by 10% in the first quarter. Breaking down the components of that growth, non-DMV transactional revenues grew by a very healthy 31%. And we were pleased to see DMV revenues increase by 2%. This modest rebound in DMV from a disappointing fourth quarter is positive news, but being the conservative CFO, it's a little too early in the year to know if this is going to be any sort of trend. We hope that it is. Operating income for the quarter was about $4.7 million flat as compared to the prior year, but in line with our expectations. We were trending against some very, very healthy first quarter numbers in the prior year last year, and this was expected. So first quarter was a good foundation upon which we'll build to meet our 2009 financial guidance, which remains unchanged from the guidance that we shared with investors in February this year. I just want to quickly remind you that we are guiding to double-digit revenue and operating income growth, and that our guidance does not reflect any new state wins. But as you're about to hear from Harry, we have a full sales pipeline and some of our largest opportunities in front of us, which is very, very exciting, and it makes it very, very exciting to be working for NIC right now.
As you can see, and Steve does a great job, as you can see, the business is performing beyond expectations, and we are driving towards that continued growth. I want to talk about solutions and walk you through some of those. I encourage you when the meeting's over, and for the individuals that, of course, are attending over the phone, web, and virtual, you won't have this opportunity, although we will have these up virtually on our island. You need to walk around the room and read all the boards. The boards, we just picked a few things to throw out there, but there's some of the leading technology we're deploying. It's cool stuff. And so we wanted to make sure that you could come up and just take your time and read through some of those. And if you have questions, corner one of us. You know, I introduced the staff. I introduced the executive team. Corner us. We love bragging. You know, give us bragging rights. We'll tell you about anything that we can that we have out here and what we've launched. But let me walk you through a few of them. And I'm going to start just walk you down the list. We provide leadership in this space. We've always been the dominant leader, and that's a spot I don't want to lose. You know, leadership through the web. We provided access to government information on the Internet before anybody else. I mean, you could access on the Internet in the early 90s. Web, we were one of the first ones to get the government services to the web. And you know what? At that time, it was magical. I loved going to those meetings with the partners because we'd show them stuff, and in their mind, you know, they'd say, this is pure magic. How can you do this? Well, you know, of course, it's evolved since then. It's gone from magic to more of a utility. But you know what? It's a utility now that millions and millions of people use every day, and they use with credit cards. They're out there doing transactions. It's not it's well past the fad. It's well past that, man, this is cool. This is part of life. And this is where we dominate, and this is where most of our services come out on. We're not even coming close to taking it away from that area. However, I'm not satisfied there. You know, if you stick with one medium, everybody will scream past you. And so for years, we keep evolving. We keep finding new areas to bring information. Social networking and Web 2.0. That is, you can't open a newspaper. You can't listen to, you know, any news report, most talk shows, anything. Somebody's going to mention, hey, I'm tweeting here. You know, are you a friend with me on Facebook? Have you seen my pictures on Flickr? You know, social networking is at this stage of the game where the web was in the late 90s. In the late 90s, most individuals, when we started driving government there, saw the web as a toy. The Internet, okay, they started seeing some value with that, but the web, it's pretty pictures. You can see some cool animations. It's a toy. Well, Steve just told you last year our revenues were over $100 million with that toy. Social networking is the same way. Right now, a lot of people look at it and say, yeah, well, but where's the value? Social networking is critical, and we are assisting all of our partners. It goes back to providing that transparency, but it also goes back to providing the access to where the next generation of users are comfortable. And we have become the resource, I hate the word experts, we've become the resource everybody looks to for that. And we have deployed numerous services on almost all of our partnerships on the social networking and the Web 2.0 solutions, everything, again, from the tweets and the Facebooks and what have you. Mobile phones. Mobile phones are a fun one because everybody looks at it right now. I mean, everybody's got a mobile. I don't know about you. I can leave my wallet at home. I can leave my car keys at home if I'm going out for a run. But I never leave my phone at home. And that's been that way for years. But anymore, you check your email on it. You check your kid's status on it because you can see on Facebook and what they're doing and where they're at. You get a tweet from them. I mean, it's just your mobile phone is your lifeline right now. We've been deploying applications on mobile phones for years. Not since iPhone came out. All that's done is really driven the attention for what can be done there. I don't know about you, but I had the old Palm, the old Trios. I mean, we were developing applications back then. But now, everybody is demanding and looking and saying, why do I have to turn on a computer? What can I do with my mobile phone? And we're having fun. We're driving revenue-generating applications to those mobile phones. In Utah, we have deployed the entire state site on a mobile phone app on iPhone so that you can go through and get access in. And there's permitting, special permitting applications go. In some of our states, we've got it so that inspectors that show up at some businesses can actually certify your license right there off their BlackBerry. And you know what? You can do business. And that flows through us. Our transparency site, anything you can think of that we're doing right now on the web is being driven to the mobile phone. One of the best articles I saw recently was iPhone's just come out with and told everybody you can start making payments on the phone. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been doing that for a while. Now they're just letting us do it with iPhones as well. What's next? This is the question I love. I'm a geek. I'll confess that right up front. Put me in front of a partner, put me in front of any technology, and I'm going to figure out how we can use it in government. All right? And I get asked all the time, what's next? And those are my favorite questions. Because it's everything. Anything you can think of. With the way the world has changed, and right now you hear all the time of new platforms that are out there, people sharing code back and forth. You have these, teenagers showing up at what are called bar camps. And what that is to develop free applications so that individuals can find their way around government and city services. And we're in the front of all of that. What's next is just about anything anyone can think of. But there is one area that we've recently started getting more involved in, and I've mentioned it a couple of times. That's virtual worlds. I don't know how many of you here have teenagers or grandchildren, that are in the teenage years, but I've got several. And a couple of years ago, I started noticing that they're spending all their time in these virtual worlds. They're playing games in virtual worlds, and they're interacting with people all over the world. They are social networking. They're networking with individuals, not games, actually going to events. They're going to concerts online. We've got an individual here I was just speaking with that's attending college online. And you know what? Most universities have college classes online. My son has already told me he'll be attending some at the University of Kansas. They're attending college and they might not ever step foot on that university campus. Virtual worlds for the teenagers, individuals in their early 20s, that is just normal to them. That is where we thought the web was in 2002 and 2003. We have taken and planted our flag solidly in Second Life. It is the leader right now. We're launching today, and this is being broadcast in Second Life, eGovernment Island, and it is a representation of what NIC is doing. It has a Hall of States of what all state government's doing, and we're identifying ways to make revenue there. The reason I stress that is I am proud to be in charge of a company that looks at it and says, don't look at what we did yesterday, and more importantly, where are the users of tomorrow going and where are they spending their time? That's what we did with the Walmarts. That's what we're doing in the virtual worlds. I encourage you to really pay attention and watch that evolve. It's a fun area. It's got a long ways to go yet. You know, NIC is in the best spot we have ever been. And I got to tell you, we're having a blast. I thank you for coming. I'm going to turn it over to Brad to adjourn the meeting, and then I'm going to answer questions from you. All right? Brad?
Thanks, Harry. All right, this concludes the formal portion of the meeting. I'll now entertain a motion for adjournment so that we can move into the question and answer session.